Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our last round of sessions and workshops for the day. I hope everyone has been enjoying the summit so far. I personally learned a ton, so I'm curious to see what people have learned. If you want to share in the chat, please feel free to do so. Um, you're in for a learning journey today. We're welcoming Dr. Renee Pleasant, who is a speaker, educator, and advocate. She has over 20 years of experience as an educational change agent. And she has a background in educational leadership. She frequently presents on these topics, practical strategies for navigating complexities of educational environments, promoting innovation in schools, and enhancing student outcomes. So in today's session, we will learn how to use choice board assignments, especially how do we use this tool to personalize learning experience for students, how to promote autonomy in the classroom, and also how to cultivate intrinsic motivation. We all know this is our number one challenge at all times. This session will be very interactive. And if you want to participate in the hands-on section of this session, I will be dropping in a link for a choice board tool. Please take a moment to create an account. A few reminders, the chat is open. Feel free to learn from Renee, but also from each other. So share insights and questions. We have a Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom. So if there are any questions that you would like Renee to address during this presentation, feel free to drop them there. Renee, welcome.
Thank you. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so as we mentioned before, I need you to go ahead and download the choice board that we're going to use at the end of this session. And to do that, all you need to do is to go to the website teacherspayteachers.com. And then that's the picture I have on the left-hand side. In that search bar at the top, if you would enter A as in Adam, S as in Sam, D as in David, teach. And then you can also use the plus sign choice board, and it will should show up in your search as I have it pictured on the right-hand side. We are going to use that 6-panel choice board at the end of today. You will have a walk away, take away, just to use at the time of your choice in your next course. All right, so while you are downloading, I'm going to take a moment and introduce myself, and it will be a little long to kind of account for that activity that you have. So who is Dr. Pleasant? Well, it's me. I'm Dr. Pleasant, and it's a pleasure to be a presenter at the 2024 Course Hero Education Summit. I don't know about you, but I've heard some great speakers, and I am humbled to be in their virtual presence. So as I said, my name is Dr. Renee Pleasant, and I am thrilled to share my experience and my insights with you today. I am a lifelong learner and educator dedicated to empowering future students and educators, well, such as you and myself. Currently, I serve as an instructor at 2 higher ed locations. I teach face-to-face at Flagler College. There I am teaching a course that I created called Personality Handbook or Playbook. Additionally, I serve in a remote role supporting elementary education majors during their final field experience. That is so scary if you can think back to when you did that. And that's with Walden University, and I love working with both sets of students. Education is my passion. It has been a privilege to serve over 25 years in the field of education. I believe in the transformative power of learning, and I have to say you wouldn't stick around for over 2 decades if you didn't believe it. I strive to inspire and guide the next generation in each of my classrooms. I believe in fostering creativity, critical thinking, and inclusive learning environments. Why? Because it's a life skill. As such, I strive to bring them to autonomy in their educational journey. The strategy that I'm teaching you today will be most impactful inside of any classroom from pre-K all the way up to higher ed. I look forward to today's session, and I'm excited about the engagement that awaits with all of you. So let's collaborate and learn from one another, because together we can and we will drive positive change. So speaking of engagement, it's time for your input. Whenever you see this slide here with the magic flashing, I'm going to ask you for your input. And why, you ask? Well, because there is magic in learning. Just like we said at the beginning, it's not just for me to disseminate information, but for you to learn from your colleagues. So take a moment throughout this session, and if you find something that is a spellbinding reaction, share that in the comments. If you find something that is a new magical favorite, put that in the comments. Or if you have an enchanted tale or personal experience, charm us and place that in the comments. Now, to begin, I'm going to start with a very easy way for us to break the ice and get to know one another. Please drop in the comments the name of your school and how long you have been there. See, I told you it wasn't hard. As you are dropping those comments, I'm going to go ahead and start off with a question you probably all have. What is a choice board? Well, it is sometimes referred to as voice and choice in education. And when you think on that, that's pretty intuitive. It recognizes that offering students the opportunity to make choices in their learning will align with their natural desire for engagement and motivation in the educational journey. And I promise you, they do have that innate desire. It's just kind of hard to pull out these days. When students have a voice and a choice in their learning, they are more likely to feel empowered and motivated to actively participate in their education roles. Don't we want that? Don't we want active participation? So choice boards define, they are basically visual tools that present students with a variety of options for completing tasks or assignments. That's it in a nutshell. One of the things about choice boards is that I like the most, and it aligns with this quote, is never forget how wildly capable you are. And there I like to emphasize the word wildly. Let's think outside the box a little bit. I use this cartoon a lot in my teaching and my coaching. It's a cartoon that's been around for a long time. As you look at its frontal, on the left-hand side, you have a gentleman looking out one side of the bus window and a gentleman on the right looking out the other. Now, the gentleman on the left, he sits in that seat every single day, and he looks at the mountainside. Now, we may think that would be majestic, but think about it. He's really close to the mountain, and all he sees is a dreary view. He sees the gray rock, maybe some slates of jagged edges, and it's pretty depressing. Yet the other gentleman on the right, he chooses a preferred view. He sits on the side where there's the most majestic scenery. He sees the sun rise, the sun set. He sees the yellow, the oranges from the sun, and as it reflects on the green treetops and the mountains, it's a beautiful view. Choice boards allow for all riders to experience the preferred view or the right view. When choice boards are presented, they are best done in grids or menus, with each cell offering a different choice for the learner to complete. Choice and voice. All right. Best of all, when we use choice boards, we are enabling flexibility for our learner, and not just the learner. Students are empowered to make the individual selection based upon multiple options, and use of the choice boards allow for the students to accommodate their interests, learning preferences, and readiness. Now, I'm going to repeat that over and over again. Interest, their interest, learning preference, and readiness. Those are the things that you want to key in on. That's what allows the choice boards to be empowering and help to unleash their inner desire for engagement. Now, this screen right here shows a choice board type called the tic-tac-toe board. And it's a lot of fun for students, regardless of their age. Now, I know that the example I'm giving you is very fitting for an early elementary age student, but trust me when I tell you that tic-tac-toe boards are a hit at all ages. You can make it more challenging by requiring your students to complete 2 runs, either a row, a column, or diagonally. And if you opt for a required task, place it in the center of the tic-tac-toe board and then dictate that the students complete an X or a cross in order to complete it. Now, here's another example of a choice board. I want you to look at the very bottom. In red are the directions, and notice how simple those directions are. Complete any combination that total 25 points. So what is so empowering about this option is it allows freedom. So if one student can choose a 10-point plus a 15-point to meet the objective, but another student can choose 3 at 5 points each for 15 plus a 10-point. And it allows them so much more freedom than what we sometimes give as assignments. Now, this choice board example, I absolutely love. It incorporates so much technology technology. Look at this. Now, if you opt for this, depending on who your target learner is, you may decide to make a second page where you put those directions. But I feel that this is very appropriate for higher ed. You have your cell and then you have the arrow going out, and it gives you the specifics or links that you can use that they may need. I think that this is a great example of a choice board, but based upon your students, you may want to make it a little less busy. Now, this slide is an example that I have used. All right, I used this when I was teaching public speaking course at Flagler College. And when I taught the course, I followed the course writer's criteria for this speaking assignment verbatim. All right, the objective was to pick a historical person of influence that has played a role in influencing St. Augustine's history. Now, if you're unaware, Flagler College is nestled in the historic city of St. Augustine, Florida, and it is very rich in history. And when I say rich, I mean rich. And all professors take advantage of that, and we incorporate something about St. Augustine's history in every assignment. That sounds great, unless you're the student. They were becoming bored and unmotivated in conducting the research exclusive to St. Augustine and didn't see the relevance of history. So I sat down and I thought about it, and I got to be honest, there's only so many times I myself can listen to a Ponce de Leon speech. So I changed it up to bring the curriculum objective to the learners, engagement, expanding the assignment based upon their interests. So I said, instead of picking somebody from Florida or St. Augustine's history, you can pick a person, a place, or an event that's relevant to Florida. And then I allow them to not only focus on the past, but who do they see in today, or what place do they see, or what event do they see today that will be a futuristic significance in the history of Florida. By making this slight tweak, I made a huge change in the climate of my classroom. This allowed them so much more choice. And let me give you an example. So I have some coastal environment science majors, and they would go and they would find articles or stories related to the animal treatment that was well or not well treatment of animals in our local tourist places. Talk about transformative. Then I had some of my budding artists who shared the life of Bob Ross. Remember the happy painter, the happy tree? Now, guys, I didn't know that Bob Ross had a connection to Florida until my artist shared that with me. I even allowed my business majors to tap into the business savviness of Donald Trump and use that as forward projection in the business world, how future leaders can adopt that. When I changed how I'm giving the assignment, it really changed the impact in the classroom. Now, that's not to say we didn't occasionally have another Ponce de Leon report, but it was different and it was tailored to their specific interest. So if you're looking for a way to make a small step into the world of choice boards, consider this option in the sense that you vary the content for one of your assignments. All right, it's time to engage. Give me a word or phrase of how you are feeling towards choice boards. Are you feeling curious? Drop the word curious. Are you feeling excited? Drop that word. Are you feeling empowered? Drop that. Maybe you're a little scared. Drop that word. Whatever you're feeling at this point, go ahead and drop that in the comment section. Now, you may be wondering why you should use choice boards. Well, they are empowering for both the instructor and the learner, and I kind of hinted at that earlier, but I'm going to talk about it more. Students are empowered by giving them the freedom of selection that resonate with their interests. Like I told you, my coastal engineering students, my artists, those things. But choice boards empower us as instructors by giving us freedom to design and offer a variety of task options. Students feel a sense of ownership over their learning experience when they are given the ability to make meaningful choices. And we as instructors have creative freedom offered by the choice boards. We can tailor the teaching strategies to better suit the needs and preferences of our students. Choice boards promote self-direction and accountability. They foster a deeper engagement with the learning process. Having autonomy in instructional design for us as instructors promotes self-direction and accountability by encouraging us to explore innovative methods and strategies. Differentiation and choice boards are not exclusive of one another. In fact, they are inclusive with one another. Choice boards offer a range of options catering to a variety of learning styles, preferences, abilities, and then students choose tasks that best align with their strengths, or, as you're going to see later, areas that they feel they need to grow in. Promoting personalized learning experiences all at the same time. Instructors get to use choice boards to scaffold learning and challenge the students based upon their needs. When we offer our students with choices, a beautiful byproduct occurs, and that's increased motivation, because they are more likely to be engaged in that which interests them. That's just human nature, yes? Students are motivated to excel when they have a stake or ownership in their learning outcomes, and they see the relevance of their work. Choice boards also foster intrinsic motivation. That's the life skill we want them to leave our rooms with, right? And it allows them to practice and perfect their commitment to their academic tasks. All right, so let's talk about how choice boards help with skill development. Does anybody ever struggle with decision making? I do, okay? And this young man is struggling to determine which cookie should he eat, the cookie in the right hand or the cookie in the left hand. And I can relate to that maybe a little too well. One of the skills developed through choice boards is critical decision making. Later, we're going to talk about the 5 steps that students embark when they select a choice board assignment. One of my all-time favorite shows is Criminal Minds, and thank you for summer break for allowing me to binge on that. And I love it because it's all about priority. In order for the investigation to move forward, you have to prioritize the right task. So you may be wondering, how does Criminal Minds link to this session? Well, students learn to prioritize tasks. They are learning time management, which is a life skill that we want them to master, yes? And lastly, another skill that's being developed through the usage of choice boards is promoting independence. And I don't mean the independence that our freshmen come to college with, thinking that they're fully independent when their parents are paying for their room, their insurance, their car payment. I mean authentic independence. Choice boards support students in becoming self-directed learners who take ownership of their educational journey. So when does one use choice boards? Well, it can be used in a variety of situations. If you're not aware, project-based learning, sometimes called PBL, is a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills. The projects typically extend for a period of time and are fully centered on the students making the discoveries. They're doing the research. It's not an instructor-led. And it usually or almost always revolves around a real-world investigation. The students are responding to some sort of a complex question or problem or challenge, and it's done in an authentic manner. Differentiated instruction, or sometimes called DI, occurs when the instructor differentiates content, process, product, or the environment in order to tailor the instruction to meet the learner's unique needs. Now, I gave you an example of differentiating the content when I showed you the different ways to do the historical speech in Florida. I'm going to show you a different differentiation of product in just a moment. It's common for us to go to or lean towards the DI of assessment. Enrichment. Choice boards can be used as a means for enrichment. When I was teaching in the upper elementary and as a site leader, I really encourage choice boards for extra credit. This is one example that I am currently using in my personality course. So this is actually the 6th panel that we are going to do at the end of this course today. So if you want to make a screenshot of that or take a photo, please do so. I allow my students to complete 3 of the 6 assignments, with the task being 15 points each, so they can earn a maximum of 45 points throughout the course. I introduced the option at the start of the term. It's the first day that we're in session together. And then they have the entire term, well, less 1 week. It's due the next to last week that the course ends. They really appreciate this option because sometimes at the time that I'm assessing, they haven't fully mastered the concept. So having the ability to circle back really helps them. Or is common with the undergrads. Sometimes they just miss the task altogether and they don't submit it, and having the extra credit allows them to salvage some points rather than to lose them all. Choice. My absolute favorite author is John Maxwell, and he says, life is a matter of choices, and every choice that you make makes you. And as instructors, we should seek out every opportunity to offer students choice. Why? So that they become the unique individual we desire them to be. Implementing choice boards on designated assignments or at certain times of the term is a great way to promote student exploration and growth. Now, here is an example of a choice board that I'm using currently in my personality playbook class. Now, here my objective is for students to show that they understand and are able to apply the 4 DISC personality types. So I created activities in mind that appealed to my artistic and creative students, but I also included some activities that are more leaning towards the logical and analytical. If you take a moment and look at the 3rd row, the 2nd column, you'll see that I have a free choice in there. And I always try to put a free choice in there. The reason why is because sometimes I can't think of all the creative things that my students can. And why should I? They know what they want. And so if it meets the objective, they have the opportunity to pitch something to me. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to show you a student submission from this board. Now, she actually did the top row, the last square, filming a video of daily occurrence. So let me show you that one. Now, the video is 8 minutes. We're not showing the whole 8 minutes. I'm just showing a few. The sound may be a little muted. That's okay. You don't need the sound for understanding. Just look at her body behavior. Now, if you were just to watch that video, you would think she's very comfortable filming this video, right? Or being the center of attention. Well, the truth of the matter is, she was the most shy student in the class of the term in which this was completed. And after the project, she said that she selected something creative to expand that side of her personality that is a little less strong, something that she needed to grow upon. So see, I told you they can sometimes pick a challenge rather than something they're comfortable with. So her goal was to step out of her comfort zone. She said that no other instructor has given her a choice and how to show mastery or how to voice her mastery. She was very thankful and held no regrets on her selection as it helped her to grow as an individual. Can I just say that was probably one of my best teaching moments? That moment when you see that what you have taught extends the classroom walls and is actually something that makes the person grow as an individual. All right. So how does an instructor create a choice board? All right. There's just 6 steps here. So first, you want to find the purpose in your curriculum. So you want to find what objective that you are looking to match for the assignment. Next, you're going to align those SLOs, student learning objectives, with the activities. You are going to select the activities that align with not only the SLOs, but the interests of your student. Then you're going to have any rules that align with the completion of the task. So are they to go make 2 rows, 2 runs? Do they have to complete the center square, Do they get to work with a partner? Those are the things. And then the layout. The layout is the creative, fun part. So remember the one that we had with the technology and they drew those arrows with those links? Perhaps you need to do that, or maybe you just want to do something simple and change the background. And lastly, you submit it to the students in order for them to complete it. Now, how many choices should be included? Well, there's no one answer to that. You want enough in which the learner feels that they have a choice in the activity without overwhelming them. But I can tell you this, if you pick a tic-tac-toe board, you're going to need 9 choices. If you pick a bingo board, you're going to need 25. Now, that's a lot to start off with right out of the gate. So I would say maybe not do the 25 bingo cards, but maybe stick with the 6 panel we're going to do today or the tic-tac-toe board. So how does the student use a board? Now, the instructor has 6 steps. The student has 5, but they are so important. The 5 steps for students using a choice board include review. They're going to look at the board and they're going to review what task that they want to complete. Then they're going to select. They will select a task based upon their interests and their ability to communicate their knowledge. Then they're going to work on that task and they're going to complete that for submission. They're going to demonstrate their knowledge. So that could be through an oral presentation. It could be through a product that they submit to you for grading, whatever. And receiving. It's very important as instructors for us to offer feedback. But I would encourage you that if you are having the students do an oral presentation, allow their peers to also offer feedback. There is so much opportunity for growth when students have peer-to-peer feedback. All right. Student and choice boards allow us to have engagement, diverse learning, independence, and responsibility. So you may be asking, can we make a choice board? Well, yes, you can. All right. So before we begin, if you haven't answered any of the other magic engagement questions, I really do need you to answer this one. This one is necessary for you to complete before we do our project together. So I'm going to ask you, can you think of one concept or one topic that you already teach that you would like to make a choice board for? So think about that, think about the SLOs, and drop that in the comment section. All right, are we ready? So at this time, if you can, bring up your template for the 6 choice boards. If you don't have it, you got Post-it notes, or you just want to draw 6 squares, that works too. But the idea is that today you will walk away with something that you can use in your class. All right. Whoops, too far. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start. If you already have the ideas flowing, go ahead and drop your activities in your sheet right now, 6 of them. If you're stumped, that's okay. I'm going to help you with that. All right, so here are some suggestions. Think of like I said, think of a concept that or unit that you teach that always sparks excitement. That's going to be something you want to start with. Or in the past, has there been a paper that just kind of you assign at some point and it just seems to be so hard to grade as you read through them? Are they your equivalent of a Ponce de Leon moment? Then that's where you want to start. Think of the activities you can use. All right, so let me give you some suggestions. I mentioned the free choice board spot. So if you wish to do that, and I think that's a great opportunity for you to allow the students autonomy, go ahead and place that. And I recommend that you place that as your last square. Unless you're doing tic-tac-toe or a bingo, then it can go in your center. But allow them a free spot that they can come to you and pitch something. All right. Now, you may or may not have all your squares filled in, but let me give you some ideas. Ask your kids to create a 30-second commercial for your topic. All right. So think about what you're teaching. They can do a commercial, and that's so easy for the students to do. They can film that on their phone so easily and then submit it. Need another idea? One of my favorite places to go to is Canva, and I have my kids go there because there are they can create an infographic. So Canva has a ton of infographic templates, and if you were using the format that we showed with the technology choice board, you can even make a link off to the side for a Canva account, and it's free. It fits into everyone's budget. Perhaps your students would like to make a 10-minute podcast, talk about something that is interesting to them. It would be the 10-minute podcast. They can do this on their phone. Now, I do recommend, and this is just my preference, that you ask that they video as well as audio and not just an audio submission. And the reason is you want to see how they are thinking through and they are presenting the topic at hand versus just reading something where it doesn't sound quite so conversational. Another idea is to have them create a piece of art. And I'm so thankful for my liberal arts majors for teaching me this. They can make a sculpture, a painting, or a drawing that reflects the main theme of your topic. How enlightening is that? Another thing you can do if you are willing to allow the students to work together in a group, I would say create a debate relating around one of the themes of your concepts or your topic. And I would say the sweet spot for this group would be 4. 2 could argue for a concept and 2 could counter argue the concept. They can choose to record that or do that live in class and take some Q&A. Still need ideas? Okay. How about creating a short story, a poem, or a narrative essay that has been inspired by the content that you just taught? Another one is a digital timeline. I think this is so great for our logical, sequential learners. Canva also has a great number of templates that you can use, and you can specify that you want a set number of spotlighted activities on the timeline. After you pick your 6 ideas, I want you to create any rules for your choice board. Do they have to select a certain number that equals a point value? Do they have to have a run? Do they have to do just the 4 corners or 4 squares? Whatever your rule is for completion. If there are any of the squares that they must do, make sure that that is well communicated and well marked on your board. How many do they need to complete? Can they work with a peer? Can they work with a small group? In my experience, the sweet spot is 3 to 5, but like I said, if you were doing a debate, you might want to do 2 and 2, in which case 4 would be the sweet spot. Once you're done with that, you can add out any layout designs or elements. You can put some background, you can put some graphics, you can put some links, any more instructions that you want, and then you are ready to distribute your choice board to your students and then sit back and be amazed at what they produce. All right, so that is our 6-panel template for today. I'm ready to take any questions if you have those.
Hi, Renee. Can you see the Q&A box? There's about 8 questions in there, which you're welcome to choose between.
Okay, just give me a second to get my screen. Or maybe not. You want to go ahead and read those to me?
Sure. All right, let's see. Have you experimented with using AI to help get ideas for generating choices for a choice board?
Oh, excellent question. And yes, I have. I have to be honest with you. If I left it up to myself, I would be very much logical and analytical, and I would not tap into the creative. So I have to work on using the correct verbiage to help me generate ideas, because I can't do it by myself. But yes, I think AI would be a great tool.
Awesome. Are there websites that feature awesome choice boards that can be reused and adapted? Open resources, of course.
I'm sure that there are. Off the top of my head, I don't know, because I don't normally use them. I kind of create my own based upon my students. I know that Teachers Pay Teachers has some. I think that you can make some on Canva. As far as them being pre-made that you just kind of slap into your content, I'm sure there are. I just don't know what they are off the top of my head. I can look into that, and if they want to email me at rpleasant@flagler.edu, I'll be happy to look that up and share.
Great, thank you. With the assignments being so different and some being creative, how do you deal with assessment?
Okay, that's a great question. So I go back and I look at what are my objectives? What am I looking to measure? And so in there, I may have creativity as one score, but it may not be as, obviously not as weighted as the content. So I look at, and this is another place where AI is very helpful. I don't tend to be as creative as I want to be or should be. So I can get caught in the minutia. So AI helps me to come up with criteria. Is it aesthetically pleasing? is there balance between pictures and words? So those kind of things I do press into AI for.
Great, thank you. We also have some resources on Faculty Club on how to grade with AI, if that's helpful for any of you. I can add the link in a bit.
Great
Here's
idea.
a question. I love offering my students choice. My experience has been that not all students like choice in assignments. They say, in essence, just tell me what to do. What advice do you have for students who are fearful or more resistant to choice?
So I spend a lot of time at the start of my class building the classroom climate. And we talk about how this room, whatever room we're in, whether it's a small closet classroom or if it's a lecture hall, it is a safe space. And it's a space where we are able to step out and try something outside of our comfort zone. So I don't usually make the choice board the first assignment out of the chute because we're building that culture. And I have found that my students are very receptive to that, and their feedback is amazing. I know that was out of your comfort zone. I'm so proud of you for trying something that you didn't do before. So I make a balance between the assignments they must do, and then I kind of gradually introduce it. Like in the speech class when I was doing that, I gave them ideas for the topics, past, present, St. Augustine, Florida, and then but the delivery was the same. And then I worked my way up to a full choice board.
Great. Here's another one that's related to assessment. Do you have a different rubric for each choice? How do you equitize the rubrics across choices?
I do not. You can. I know some that do, but if I do a bingo board that's 25 rubrics, and for me, that's just not feasible. If you are a super instructor and you want to do that, that is fantastic. That's just not my jam. So that's where I go into, obviously, most points on the accuracy of the content. And then I look at things, were you able to convey your message to the viewer, the aesthetics, delivery, things like that. So I keep it pretty general. And I show my students the rubric ahead of time so that they can figure out. And I've had some even ask me, if I do this, what are you looking for me to get a high score here? And we talk through that.
Excellent. Here's one more. I teach writing classes. Students have to write business messages. How do I create choices? They have to write. They can't draw a picture or do a video, etc.
Okay, that's great. So let's make some real world applications. They could do a business memo. They could do a social media post. You might have them do a social media post with this target avatar or this one or for this product. So just think of the ways that you use writing in the business. A proposal. If they want to make a pitch, a sales pitch, their elevator pitch, any of those things would work. So you can change it up or make many assignments.
Someone also asked about using these in accounting courses. I'm not sure if you have any specific experience for that, but maybe some ideas.
I'm sure you could. Now, let me just preface this with, while I am analytical, numbers and it's a foreign language. So I would say maybe you could vary on your choice board your clients, their starting balance, their expenses, and then they get to pick one in order to show you how to make a spreadsheet or how to make a budget or those kind of things. A family, a divorced adult, a young adult, a business that's got 2 employees, a business that has 50 employees, those kind of things.
Great. All right. Someone else said that they like using short videos. Now that Flip was bought and paywalled by Microsoft, do you have any other suggestions for video submission apps?
Now, just to clarify, are you asking videos that I use to teach or that they submit?
I believe that they would submit, so recording the student.
Okay, so we use Canvas, and so the students can create a video on their phone and then they upload it right away. I've had some get it into full character. They have dress, they have change of costumes, and I have some that are sitting on their bed in their dorm and filming it. So we just kind of go with it. But I do specify that it has to be original content. Now, if they want to use CapCut or any of those apps for a few enhancements, like the student that I showed you, she used CapCut to create her videos. That's fine, as long as it doesn't take away from the content and them delivering that.
Great. Thanks so much, Renee. I'm going to pass it over to Lolly.
Perfect. Folks, thank you so much for the insightful questions and for all the feedback and insight you have been sharing. I am dropping the survey link in the chat. So if you would like to let us know how you felt about the summit, what did you learn, anything you loved, anything that annoyed you, whatever, just let us know because we look at this carefully to improve the summit every year. Reminder for folks, all the session recordings, slides, and your certificate of participation will come in via email next week. So make sure to add educators@coursehero.com. That's the email address it will come from. So add it to your contact list so it doesn't end up in spam. But if you don't see it, just reach out to us. Dr. Pleasant, thank you so much for a fantastic conversation. Hopefully, folks have a lot of ideas for the fall and choice boards. Maybe one of the things you want to experiment. So just play around. We do have that free PDF so you can download it from Teachers Pay Teachers. And yeah, thank you so much. Stay hydrated for those in hot weather and have a fantastic weekend ahead. Thank you, everyone.